stars. Quiet and works. Perfect for my office. I have not experienced the problems some of the other reviewers have had. Our cold water feels cold. I have not checked temperature. Just is cold. It dispenses at a reasonable speed. We put a jug on immediately after setting up and it did not have a weird taste. We have had it for over a month. It is fairly quiet. The one I have at home from the bottled water company is much louder. Very pleased with this. Good height and our city water is fine, so we use the reusable caps and refill our bottles here. Water bottle cap for 3 or 5 gallons, non-spill, quantity of 6, made in USA. I would purchase another if we needed to. The only thing I blew it on is not getting one with hot water as well, but that was my bad. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Good. Works as intended. Has a tube/pillar to poke a hole in the cap of the 5-gallon water jug. Now that I don't have to uncap the bottles, it prevents a lot of unnecessary spilling and cleanup. This just has room temp water and cooled water. Since the bottle goes on top, there's no pump that can fail. Gravity does all that work. The less moving parts, the better. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Water coolers are not just for the office. Bought this water cooler for our cabin. Our well water has too much iron in it to be drinkable. So we bring up our city water. After 13 years of using a hand pump on the water bottles, we decided we needed an answer to our problem. Well, this water cooler has been the answer. Not sure why we did not think of this earlier. Has really worked perfectly at the cabin. The whole family enjoy the convenience of the water cooler. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Works great. Can occasionally get vapor locked. Just tap the side of your bottle and it will refill. Water is pretty cold. I refill our jug from tap. Arrived in great condition. Make sure to give it an hour or 2 right side up before you fire it up so the compressor oil settles. Great for gamers/IT folk trying to cut out the soda, etc. 4.0 out of 5 stars. Cooler saves $. It is well worth the price. It's solid and durable. I used to rent the water cooler from the water delivery company, but that seemed crazy after researching buying our own. Water cooler paid for itself within the first 9 months. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Adapter, no splash cap required. Just received the cooler and got it hooked up. It seems to cool the water real quick. I like the way the valves work. The only problem I have is that you need to tell us that we need the no splash caps if you are refilling your own bottles. We have had a Whirlpool cooler for years, but it does not have the probe built in, so what we have will not work with the new one. It would be nice if you supplied one with the cooler, even if you charged extra for it. 4.0 out of 5 stars. The unit is compact and set up easily. It has the adapter installed already to pierce. Got this machine to replace an older on out in our shop. The unit is compact and set up easily. It has the adapter installed already to pierce the water bottle neck, so replacing bottles is no mess. We found no funny taste from the water, although I did remove the assembly and clean it like the directions suggested, and then ran about a half gallon of water through it. The unit is very quiet. I didn't even think it was running until I felt the slight hum. I know some reviews said it was noisy, but ours was not at all. The water is also colder than our old machine ever was. This unit forms an ice block inside and cools that way. It has a cold water dispenser and also a non-chilled water dispenser that dispenses right from the bottle, for making coffee for example. Every now and then the unit gets vapor locked and won't dispense any water. They sent us instructions on how to fix this. You just take the insides apart and reassemble it, and it helped, but it still locks up every few days. You can tell when it happens if you fill a coffee pitcher, for example, and the unit doesn't bubble after you fill the pitcher. We found all you need to do is press down on the top of the bottle to clear the vapor lock. Simple fix, minor annoyance. The only problem we found is condensation. There is a plastic tube that runs down out of the chilled water area, does a U-turn then heads back up. It's about 6 long. Our machine is in our shop, so on very warm and humid days, the hot air condenses on that tube and drips water into the bottom of the machine and then out onto the floor. It drips right onto the compressor motor, so time will tell if it will be a problem. I could remove the fins on the back of the unit and install a little catch pan, but I shouldn't have to. I don't know why that tube isn't up inside or insulated. If you put this into a conditioned environment, this shouldn't be an issue. So other than the condensation issue, we find this to be a good unit for the price. 5.0 out of 5 stars. Great cold water dispenser. I love this water cooler. I've had 2 other brands, Rigalta and Higher, in the past, and this water cooler really does dispense ice cold water. I get a pretty consistent read of 42 degrees for the cold water and 52 for the room temperature water. This machine also dispenses water a lot quicker than the lever type models I have owned. I like the design of the water dispenser buttons on this Whirlpool model, which are designed not to break off, and you never have to worry about the buttons ever being left in the on position. I do use a easy load reusable no splash cap, screw on the 5-gallon water jug to avoid spilling water all over. The cap works great with this machine and no more water spills. I also like the fact that it uses the ice bank technology, so the dispenser isn't constantly running, so it's very quiet and still quiet even when it goes into its cycles. I have owned this dispenser for a few weeks and I am extremely happy with this waters. Quiet and works. Perfect for my office. I have not experienced the problems some of the other reviewers have had. Our cold water feels cold. I have not checked temperature. Just is cold. It dispenses at a reasonable speed. We put a jug on immediately after setting up and it did not have a weird taste. We have had it for over a month. It is fairly quiet. The one I have at home from the bottled water company is much louder. Very pleased with this. Good height and our city water is fine, so we use the reusable caps and refill our bottles here.